All right, guys, I just have an announcement to make before we get started. I think I'm going through menopause because, look, I'm eating ice cream, and we all know that, ice cream is comfort food. That's going to be my dinner, actually, is I'm just going to eat ice cream because why not? Um, while this brick slowly thaws a little bit, the thing is, it has brownies in there. And if you a real nigga and if you know how to take down me as a human being, offer me brownies. That will destroy me. You know how Superman has like, he's got this gay little gem. It's like this green little gay little diamond. It's like, oh no, 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 brownies. That will destroy me. Um, I also have water, which is also what people on menopause consume. uh, what's so funny about the water thing? But what we're gonna do actually is we're gonna talk about some anime. But let me just address the water situation. Okay, ready? It's like oh, you gonna buy bottled water? It has plastic. Oh, okay. So they changed the rating on the plastic. Oh, this is safe to consume. Yeah, right. Sunlight plus plastic. Duh. There is no safe plastic when you're trying to consume water. Just because it says it's safe, don't mean it's safe. It just means there's less degrading, but who measures that? Who's measuring the current status of every non BPA? So before they had BPA plastic, now they have BPA free plastic. So they were giving you BPA plastic. And you're going to trust them that they figured it out this time that it doesn't have BPA in there? Okay. Um, and then simple logic would dictate, right? The sun thing with the water. Okay, here's what's the next step? It's like, oh, you're gonna drink tap water. It's like, oh, it turns out it's better than drinking straight from the river, right? But you're gonna drink the tap water, how they process it with the chlorine and the fluoride and whatever, and it's going through the pipes and blah blah blah, and you're gonna drink that. That's crazy, right? Okay, then what's the next thing you could do? Oh, you're gonna get a filter. You're gonna get a Brita filter, you dumbass. Well, I heard the material that they use to filter the water is actually microplastics. That's what I've heard. So when you use a Brita filter or something, it's like microplastics. Um, it's not real activated biochar, right? It's just like some shitty like carbon, and then they give it to you, and you're like, oh, have this, you fucking idiot. Okay, so you can't do the Brita filter, you can't drink the tap water, you can't drink the bottled water. We can do reverse osmosis. Oh, that strips all the minerals. What are you gonna you gonna get rid of all the minerals in your water, dude? It's not good for you. Okay, then you remineralize. Oh, the source of the minerals. Like you think that's the only minerals there are? Real natural spring water, untapped, virgin, natural, free flowing spring water in the mountain Alps of like the fresh snow. You think it just has like a little bit of like vitamin C in there or something? Like I don't know what remineralizing water is, or you put a little bit of what like magnesium or some shit in there. You think it's like, so what's the answer? Right? Notice how all of this, I'm just selling you more and more and more things. I'm just offering you more options. What's the answer? How do you know what kind of water you got to drink? You know what I do? I go off of taste. If it tastes good, that's good enough for me. Here's another one, by the way. Um, Maybe you should figure out for yourself what is good water, and then go do that. Stop waiting for somebody to give you a solution and then you buy it and then you're betrayed and you're like, oh, j- that's a logic fallacy. The fact that you think you could buy your way into quality products when money is basically magic paper squares. It's worthless magic paper squares of illusion of the material world. You want to have something that helps you and that's like really natural and pure, and you think you can exchange that for dollars? I don't know. I mean, maybe you can. It's just going to be a lot of fucking dollars. Imagine if I was to sell you water. How much do you think I would charge you? Right? because there's a expertise, there's a knowledge, there's research, there's experimentation, there's going out and doing it. There's enough to sustain my lifestyle so that I could provide you with the product. Just do it yourself. Figure out how to make your own filtration and run it. And you know what? You would be the wiser. And it'll happen. It's not like it's gonna happen guaranteed in like 2 months. Society is gonna collapse. But okay, maybe there's a flood or something's wrong with the water pipes or blah blah blah. And every now and then, maybe there's a hurricane and the water supply is cut off and blah. But you're gonna be okay, and you'll be just fine, and you won't even know that there's disaster around you because you're doing just a okay, buddy. Right? So and this you can apply to the supplement industry also. The endless supplements. Oh, you need this thing and this molecule and this chemical and this comp. It's like they're all synthetic. And if they were natural, why don't you just consume the natural product that is designed by God for you to receive it rather than the pharmaceutical isolate? And usually it's like a replicate, right? It's interesting, interesting stuff. Now that I got that off my chest, let's talk about Vinland Saga real quick. So this is one of my favorite animes of all time. I'm not just an anime hater, and just to prove that, I did this little drawing right here. Um, you know, it's to show you that I'm not just shit talking for the sake of shit talking. Notice how I defended the ever living fuck out of Bill Gates. I think we're gonna do a series where today I'm grateful for Bill Gates. Here's why. Everyone is now just panicking about this new tick that's being spread out everywhere. Well, that tick is killing all the wildlife so that developers can go there and then they can build houses. Okay? And you're like, "Oh, it's just greedy. Okay, then don't complain about housing prices." You know what the subtle like context that you missed when you complain about housing prices is that, well, just build your own house. Just buy some land and build your own house. That's what people used to do. That's why housing was really cheap. Why would you pay somebody to build a house for you when you can do it yourself? So there's no market for that, so the prices come down. Is that too hard to explain? Do people not use simple reasoning? Okay, don't own a house, live on a trailer, make a hut. I mean, how badly do you really want to sign the deal with the devil? Well, you want to get a loan to buy a house? Okay, well, they're going to have to release super ticks to destroy the environment so you can have a house. By the way, just so you know, there is actually a highly positive thing about these super ticks that's spreading through Florida. Okay, even Bill Gates' vaccine mosquito program. Amazing, by the way, amazing. Why? Why do I say that? Well, because chickens, they eat ticks and mosquitoes. So problem solved. And I'm guessing whatever they don't eat, the little lizards will, and then the chickens will rip them apart, and then that's even more protein. So I ain't complaining. Bring more super AIDS ticks into my area. My chickens are hungry. Okay. So I want to really say thank you, Bill Gates, for facilitating this part of my life. To add a new source of protein, and and my chickens are happy to eat the ticks. So thank you for that. I'm really grateful. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm actually being genuine about this. Okay, we're gonna pull up Vinland Saga. All right, I'm gonna try to summarize it to the best of my ability. We're gonna we're gonna try to summarize it to the best of my ability. Okay, this is called Vinland Saga. The reason why I want to talk about this anime is it is one of my most favorite animes of all time. Um, season one, only season one. I guess we'll just show you. I mean, you don't need to see more days. Vinland Saga, you could look it up. Why do I like this anime? What makes it good? What makes it bad? Okay, first of all, if you notice the recipe with so many animes, pilot episode has some sort of hook, maybe a couple more episodes, and then they immediately taper down on every. You're trying to see more. Usually, people are like, "Show me the action, show me the action, show me the action," right? They taper it down, and then they do this whole long, drawn waiting process, and then they do the final scene at the end. Okay, it's a great way to tell a story, I guess, but it's so predictable and it's kind of forced. It's like you're doing the combat scene just to do a combat scene, and it really isn't carrying its own unique storyline. It's not grounded in its own universe. You're just doing a violence montage. Okay, and that pleases the people. The people want their bread and circus. That's what they're looking for. You've trained them to want such a lower standard of quality, so you're trying to limit their creative output. Well, if you look all around you, that's actually biting you in the ass now, isn't it? Right. um but why do I like Vinland Saga? So in Vinland Saga, the immediate hook is there's a guy named Thor's. Okay. It starts off with this guy. I thought the story would be centered around this dude, and great plot twist. It has nothing to. I mean, it has something to do with him, but it has more to do with this kid. It has nothing to do. The guy dies in like episode 1 or 2 or something like that. Like immediately they kill him. But what makes the hook for Vinland Saga is it's entirely based on a very true and wise statement. Thor's figured it out. He had a moment of enlightenment. Okay, he understood that you have no enemies. You create enemies in people. There are no enemies. Okay, you don't have to kill people. And the other thing he realized is that a good swordsman, a good fighter, does not need the sword. It's almost like an ancient, like what, Japanese proverb or something. It's like the warrior. You want to be a warrior in a garden and not a gardener in a war. But to understand the concept of a warrior, is the sword is the last thing you utilize. A real warrior, okay? The difference between like a thug or a fighter or a mercenary or a soldier, they're trained to do violence. That is one aspect of what a warrior is trained to do. And this is why this is one of my favorite animes, particularly just for this character design in itself. This character has single handedly carried the series, and he died in episode 1. One of the most legendary characters of all time. And I'll give you another example of this. It's in an anime called The Blades of the Guardian. Okay, so in this anime, um, there is this Chinese governor. The Chinese governor in the anime. Let's see if I could find it for you guys. Oh, okay. I search Chinese governor, and then they show you the fucking prostitute as the first picture. What are we doing here? Um, Chinese, the imperial. Maybe I'll use imperial. Imperial merchant scene. Is this the one? Uh, okay, so we're getting close. This guy right here, P. Jingyang, Jiang Ying, Blades of the Guardian, P. Xingyang's uncle. Ah, I can't find it. Oh, right here, this dude. This dude has like a 5 minute scene in the entire thing, probably. And he shows you what a real warrior is. He conquered an entire region by offering he's like he offered these people, and it was like a ridiculous bribe, like a crazy ridiculous bribe, like 12 like treasure chests full of fine of the finest silk you could find. It's enough money to like, and he's like, we'll keep giving you that as part of a trade deal, you know. And so one guy resists and he says, I'm sorry, this this is I cannot afford this silk. That's what the other guy says, right? Two honorable men. So there's this guy. I mean, let me see if the scene itself just has it. Yeah. So they're bringing in all the people. Um, these guys are like, "Who are you? What are you know?" It's like, "Fuck you. What am I doing here? I hate your guts." And then they're looking at this, and they're just dumbfounded with the level of wealth that this has. But this one man is refusing it. Okay, and he goes something around the things of like accept the tea, accept the offer, um, and everybody kind of goes for the deal. They go for the deal, and the guy, he doesn't say, "Oh, this silk is a bribe. This silk is this." He understands what's going on here. He says, "This silk is like too expensive for me," or something like that, or something. He rejects the offer in a very like dude, it's like a 10,000 IQ move. Let me see what he says. Let's see. Please don't forget our identity. Um, Chief Mo, you can drink this tea while it's hot. Let's see. Don't let it. He's saying don't let the deal go through. And look at this guy. Huh? I forget what he says. He says something. He offers. I don't know. Oh, right here. Some things are more important than profit. Okay. Um, and the guy rejects him. But you see, normally, notice the Chinese guy who is watching the deal go through. This dude, right? Stone cold. If you were watching a Western movie, I mean, there would have probably been a sarcastic joke, like a witty comment, or some bitch would have just interjected with her, some female lead would have had to had her scene time or something. The old Chinese guy is like, he knows exactly the nature of everyone there, right? He goes, "Well, I'm about to conquer this entire region without sending a single swordsman. How am I going to do that? They're all going to turn on each other. I'm going to get half of the silk back anyways because they're all going to be dead. So they don't need the silk. We'll just collect it right back." Okay? And at the end of the day, he also predicted that his nephew, this guy right here, um, this massive like mongoloid beast would not tolerate that um, this man or his daughter dies or something along the lines of that. Um, or that he would act in a certain way when he sees what's happening when these guys are stabbing each other in the back. And the whole point of sending him was to kind of protect this old man's daughter, who will then end up being the heir to the whole. All of those tribes are unified because they're all dead. Now she's the only one alive, so she's going to inherit it. And he's doing that intentionally also because he wants to, I think, undermine the emperor's power. But he makes it appear as though he is unified, but he has created a back door for him to go to that area and to potentially um, he set up a plan B. So he's conquering an area without needing swordsmen through a deal that he knows will fall apart to some degree, and he wants to ensure that there is a survivor that he prefers to deal with, okay? And it would be that old man. And in two ways, you know, he satisfies the emperor's desire to expand and to get the heat off of his back while setting up a plan B for himself potentially because the emperor is like a crazy psychopath and it's really dangerous time to be powerful and in a position of power while you're being taken over by this essential like demon king. Okay, that is really really rich story and that's just a side character. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Like, and then the same thing here. You know, it starts off with him, and then so all of the middle of Vinland Saga is the kid growing up and just killing people, and it's just violence, right? You can erase that whole part of the show. I mean, it's good because it illustrates the kid, but the second character that carries Vinland Saga is Asklad. Asklad. Aslad, who is a really good tactician, and he actually recognizes Thor as like he's actually a really really high IQ, smart, planning, cunning man, but he's surrounded with a bunch of barbarians and so he has to create an empire and his comeback while dealing with a bunch of retards, okay? That's the thing that plagues him. But you can see him essentially calculating his way into empire building. Okay, it's not just sending soldiers to go die or drama or it's being quiet, observant, diligent, planning. It's about being at the right place at the right time. Yeah, a lot of it is kind of appeasing your people as you build power, right? You know, and so the barbarians they love to pillage. So I guess you got to have them do pillaging. You know, if your people, you know, this is where I say, you know, your rulers actually serve the nature of the people, right? If you're saying everything is going to shit, that's because the average person, including yourself, is a piece of shit. That's why you have those people who are doing those things to you. Bill Gates has to create super ticks because people need the housing. Okay, people want the housing. They have to do it. They're gonna import a bunch of people. That's the next place. If you actually bypass the immediate hatred and you try to get a proper understanding of what's happening, you may even make a ton of money. Where are they releasing these super ticks? Maybe you should buy some land there because in 20, 30 years, that's about to be a new booming city. That's what that means. You know, I'm not saying that with like 100% guarantee, but that's like an example of like if you're aware of things, you can capitalize on it, and as long as you don't, you know, as long as you're not like investing the outcome of your life on it, you know, in the sense where if this succeeds, then you'll be happy. If this succeeds, and you can do good things. No, you can always do good things. You can make a bet, and if it pays off, you can do even more good things. That's how you should be evaluating investments. If you evaluate an investment, I'm going to take money, I'm going to put it here, and I want this amount of return per day, um, y- you're playing the wrong game. Those people are never happy. Those people never see out of it. They're always, 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 uh, they're always suffering. They're always needing more. It's always inadequate. So this series is carried by this guy. Now, one of the most pivotal scenes is when the prince, this this Conte, this Conte guy goes from being like a pussy bitch, okay, and he mans the fuck up, and he realizes that he can't be a baby forever and try to hold on to being a child endlessly, okay? And so in doing so, he goes through and he has that moment of enlightenment, and he no longer needs that, and then he becomes this absolute legend of a Chad when it comes to leadership, okay? And so what they also do very well, and actually what I don't think they should have done an extra episode on this, is they should have shown the kid. You see, all of season one had nothing to really do about this kid, which is the interesting thing, even though it was centered around the kid. Um, the ending is that he went like basically crazy because he couldn't get vengeance. Okay, he was trying to get vengeance this whole time. He from like the age of like 3 to like 13. The guy is like a thug mercenary killer. Um, and towards the end, he had an option. He had an option to go back home. He found his old mentor or his uncle or something, and he chose not to do that, and he chose to pick vengeance, and then he ended up, technically, I think he was imprisoned. And he got lucky, he got exiled, okay, into slavery. But that is the nature of what happens when you seek revenge for your solution. And you will see this, and here's the thing here. The Revenant movie, okay? Like the book, if I'm not mistaken, was about forgiveness. As the guy is journeying through to track down the guy that killed his son and left him for dead or something like that, he's seeing the whole world and the beauty around him finally, and he learns to forgive, and I think he ends up forgiving him. Versus, I think in the movie, obviously the movie, he lets the guy get torn apart, right? The thing about vengeance is that it will consume you, okay? And getting it won't be enough. That's the trick. That's why I think there's a famous quote in the Bible: "Vengeance is for the Lord." I think that's the quote. Let's see if I could find that. Biblical quote says, Romans 19. Let's see, pop it up right there. Vengeance is mine; I will repay, saith the Lord. Okay, KJV. Whatever. There's like here's your 100 different interpretations. It's basically the same thing. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. Let God will make all things equal when upon death, and every man dies. So you don't have to burden yourself with needing that. That's why they also say, I think good, true Christian people don't go to court, right? Between Christians, you will settle it. And if you are a Christian, you will honor each other and do your best to make things fair and equal. And you don't need a court, but you need the court for the non-Christians, essentially. I think that's how you could go about viewing it, because the dishonorable should not be allowed to be dishonorable, because society will collapse and it will limit commerce. Now, in some sense, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe capitalism needs to take a huge step back without needing the enforcement of the courts. But if that is an argument you want to make, then take a look at the second world. Okay, the courts aren't strong enough and they can't get past certain civilizational requirements of basic needs to their people, right? You still, on some level, have people fending for basic human needs. And you kind of have to play that, it's like almost like the deal with the devil. You got to have the court system. And by the way, I like the court system. I really do. I think making a mockery of the court system is a lie and a trick that is used to have the people not look into the thing that they should. It's like constantly scaring people about the quality of water. What's the benefit of that? Well, nobody's ever just going to sit there and look at it and be like, this is what you need. This is how I'm going to do it. I've done it. I don't need to look into it anymore. You know? Um, it's like, and by the way, it's like, you don't need minerals in your water, dude. Just have minerals from the food you eat. Okay, just how much of a mineral rich environment do you need to exist to just live a good life? What are you trying to be? Like perfect in health? This is the psyop about the health stuff, man. You you're not even that great of a human being yourself. No, like why do you demand the best of the best for you when you act on a daily basis like a piece of shit? Like at least 10% of the time on your best days, you know? And on your worst days is like 70% of the time. You know what I mean? Like i- what's the logic there? And I'm not just saying you as the viewer, I mean like everyone. This is the nature of man. This is the nature of good and evil. This is why karma is such a fucking LARP. It's such a fucking LARP. So this was one of my favorite animes. Where'd it go? Well, this is definitely my favorite anime of all time. Um, it has many, many good character designs. Vinland Saga also has really, really good character designs. The issue with Vinland Saga is season two. Season two was about this dude right here basically simping for a hoe, and that was the majority of the season. And then it was like this weird tension where are we gonna see some action finally or not? Um, and so yeah, it was like two homies doing field work, and this guy's simping over a hoe, and then everything gets resolved in the last two episodes or so. Is when is like just watch the last two episodes. You know, that's all you really need. And the ending of it was legendary. Like the entire season somewhat got redeemed. It went from dog shit to 50-50 just because of the last scene of the anime, okay? As to how this guy defeats the greatest Viking warriors without throwing a punch to them, without fighting back and throwing a punch, to show them that they think they understand what strength is, and the strength through violence is not what a warrior is. Right? I would say the whole point of Vinland Saga is to explain to you the strongest warrior is not the greatest fighter. That is a common trope, I think, if you want to have proper uh, male journey out of. It's like the amount of dudes that I see that like, you know, like this thing. I don't even know what they're on. They're on like Dragon Ball 10 billion, Dragon Ball Z Kai, super duper. This is nothing. This is stupid. This is almost gay, I think. If you like this, I'm almost questioning your heterosexuality at this point. Maybe as a kid, it was okay to watch that because an it was animation, very new, television is new. The stories you're hearing for the first time and seeing, so you're just like you're enamored and by the newness of it. How many times does the guy have to change his hairstyle equal to power spike? It's just fucking with your mind. Um, but yeah, that's my quick little rundown on two of my favorite animes and my idea about water. And I think my ice cream is at a good melting point, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that while I can. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.